So welcome back to the series of podcasts Stay on Top of Your Work. This is Kate, and today my guest is Stefan Engeseth. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Really great. Thank you.
Great. So he's a bright and interesting person now, without whom the world of management would be boring. And Stefan is an author, consultant, speaker, and guest professor at the University of New York in Prague. He has worked as a consultant with many companies and corporations worldwide. Stefan, you are also described as one of the world's leading experts and speakers in your fields, which are, I believe, most of them are business strategies, leadership, management, and marketing. Did I skip any important field also, or is it all okay?
That's fantastic. It sounds really good.
Okay. So how are you basically today?
I'm doing fine. It's nice. Today I'm in Stockholm and it's a bit cold, but it's really nice. Nice. I'm
Okay.
doing fine. So thank you very much. Hope you're doing fine too.
Yes, me too. It's cold in Warsaw too, so I can understand you. I can relate. Okay, to begin with, I would like to ask you, what made you choose such a career and develop these skills that you pursuing? Also, can you say a few words on your professional interests?
Well, as a person, I always try to stay on top with whatever I do, and I spend a lot of time, even years, nearly living in libraries, but I couldn't find really good strategies and innovation about evolution, how to develop your company. So I turned to nature, and nature I found really fantastic because there's uh, personally, I'm not so impressed of Homo sapiens when it comes to evolution. I think nature is so much smarter, and I haven't been to Poland yet, but I heard that you have really fantastic nature, so I love to go there.
Yes.
It's a nice library, I guess, the Polish nature. So
Yes, it is. I encourage you to visit our country. It's really beautiful and inspiring too.
I hope to go there. I have some invitations to come and have lectures there. So
That's great.
yeah. Also request to get my book translated into your language. So it's my latest book. So we see how it goes.
So when it comes to business strategies and management, how can these two aspects be combined to provide successful companies development? But I'm also actually interested when you talk about nature. Does it inspire you somehow in your work?
Yeah, it inspires me a lot because it started out that companies starting to hire me to come and attack them, just as they hire a hacker to attack their firewalls, that hire me to attack their business models and what they're doing and their strategy and the management and everything. And I couldn't find really good strategies to how to attack them. So I turned to nature because most of the management books are, in my opinion, very old, and many of them are outdated when it comes to being on top of things. They're created around Second World War or something, So they're quite old. So I turned to nature and I found the sharks. So I've written a book called Sharkonomics, and nature is superior because you can see that when it comes to Homo sapiens, the strategy is quite good in the business world, and the next level of strategy is sport, and the next level of that is the military, and the level above that is nature, because in nature everybody's on the menu, so there's increased competition, and that's why the strategies are so much better. It's like science fiction compared to the business world.
Mm-hmm. So do you think there are any particular strategies that can help in developing a business?
Yes, a lot of businesses they get stuck in history because we as a species are wired to save energy. So when business are going well, people lean back and save energy, and that's what that makes them vulnerable for attack. So by actually attacking them and showing them that there's this big risk to denial, uh, to not moving forward. So stay on top of things. Sharks, they always move, they never stop, they always swim 24/7. And I think this should be the same for management and for innovation and whatever you do in business. You always need to move on and the speed is so fast today on a transplant market that you always need to move really, really fast. For instance, sharks, they never go directly to an attack. They swim around and they learn about their prey, and that's very effective. So nature is superior when it comes to attack, even much smarter than Secret Service and the military and everything that's out there.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about these books, Sharkonomics, because you are the author of books in general yourself.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that book a little bit more and tell us what it is about and what topics it includes? Because it seems really interesting, especially when you talk about sharks and how you kind of connect it with the world of business.
Thank you very much. It's well, the book is translated into Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese,
Wow.
and Vietnamese and Japanese, and I have a lot of requests from different countries and from Poland, of course. Well, basically, it's sharks have been around for 420 millions of years, and I've been studying their history, and I boiled it down to 10 attack strategies and 10 defense strategies. And defense, I'm probably the only person in the world holding defense strategies workshops, full day workshops, because corporations, they don't have defense strategies. But of course, if you have a balance between defense and attack, it's much easier to move forward, because what's happening with big corporation is that when they don't have a defense strategy, they're just becoming a big whale where you can chew on. You can take so many bites because they don't have any defense. It's like putting the money on the floor and saying welcome. That's how big corporations works today. It's so easy to attack them.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
nice.
it's
Yeah,
nice.
keep
So
going.
what shark does, for instance, they go in for a test bites. They don't have any hands, so they go in and they take a test bite and they see how it goes. That's what Apple did with the first mobile phone. They did a failure together with Motorola. So they went in, they did take a test bite, and they see what happened. And Nokia and everyone said, well, Apple is not moving in. But what they did, they moved back and they studied how the prey were behaving, and then they came back for a killing bite, and that was the iPhone. They changed the market totally. So if you use test bites as Shark does, you can have a higher evolution of speed and stay on top, even above the top. You
Mm-hmm.
can go to the roof if you use the strategies in Sharkonomics. And it's not me being creative, it's me studying nature. So I give all the credits to the real sharks, especially the great white sharks. And I'm not sure if you know that, but the female shark is the most aggressive, the most creative there is.
Oh, that's
Uh,
interesting.
Interesting, yes. And I guess it's the same for Polish women. So, in my
Well,
opinion,
maybe.
maybe so. Yes, yes,
Maybe so, exactly.
yeah.
So you think in order to achieve success in business and basically in work, we have to be like sharks.
Yes, we always have to move, and we need to move much faster than our environment. For instance, the software we're using right now is a software. I think I haven't seen it before, but I think it's looks cool. And in the beginning, there was a Swedish company called Skype that was successful with it. But this software we're using now, in my opinion, it looks like it swim above uh,
Mm-hmm.
before Skype. And that's the thing. If you have an invention, you cannot stop after you launched invention. You have to move your product forward all the time, and you have to do it together with your consumers, your clients. Then the whole environment is a part of the evolution of products and services. And doesn't matter if it's business to business or business to consumer. It's the same thing. Everything is moving so fast today that we really need to speed up evolution in corporations. Especially the big corporations have problems because they get stuck in history all the time. So they call me to attack them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you talk about innovation, do you
Yes.
think innovative and creative approach are something that a good company cannot thrive without? Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Actually, it's it's all about move or die. If you stand still, you will die in the market. And the same thing for sharks. And what I do right now, I swim in different waters where I see this big change coming. So for instance, when it comes to the construction industry, I've been doing a lot of lectures because I see the IT sharks like Google and Microsoft and the big IT sharks. They're moving into different business fields as the construction field, and they're attacking them because they haven't changed. They haven't moved for generations. And there's trillions of dollars waiting for them. Fleshy whales of big corporations. And it's standing still. And we can see in Sweden, we're doing very well in the construction field. Now are the Polish companies coming here and attacking them too. And it used to be the Polish workers in the construction field, but now it's the whole companies coming here, and they were effective. And I have friends visiting your companies in Poland, and they were high on top of things. That's why you can move globally, and that's why you can do international business.
Okay, that's nice. It's good to know. I'm happy that things are moving so great for Polish people.
It's,
and
it's
I,
moving. It's moving
yeah,
fast. You're moving fast. You're
and
hungry.
um, and I'm happy that you can kind of experience it and work with Polish people. That's really great. So when it comes to innovation, this is the question I actually ask all of my guests. What do you think about the use of special tools for work or time management, such as, for example, TimeCamp, which is time tracking software? Do you think they are useful? Do you think they kind of make work easier or not really?
I think everything that gives you more time and organization is good. And I've been checking it out. Looks modern. And I think if you can get people to work as a tribe together, and especially when it comes to creativity, because creative people are enormously fine to find new ways to move forward. But what's really important is how can you build, how can you be creative? As of course, Lego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, different part. How can you put your Lego of creativity together, and then you can use a software as TimeCap, because if everybody puts their part of the creation of innovation together, you will have a better solution faster. And personally, I think kids are the most creative people on earth.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, and they work very much with their body, their mind, everything is together. So if you want to test time caps, you should have kids using it. And
Oh,
if they can use it, and if they can get more creativity out of it, it's fantastic, because they are the
that's
most.
that's that's really great. I actually have to tell it to my CEO because it really sounds like innovative and creative. I have to check it out.
Thank you very much. They wonderful kids, so they find always solutions. And what I especially like with kids is that they don't use the management words. If they like something, they love it, and that's how people should react. I think it's too many words in the management field, and that doesn't mean anything. And we, in the management world, they produce a lot of PowerPoints. Sharks, they don't produce PowerPoints. They take a bite. If it tastes good, they take a bite more. That's how I think modern management should be, and that's why I wrote Sharkonomics. Take a bite and swim on, and do business. That's what it's about.
That's nice. So, as an author of books, can you say what other things inspire you, and what books do you recommend for our audience to read that can bring something fresh into their business?
Oh, there is a lot of good books. I think on innovation. There is Jobs to be done by the Danish author, professor on Stanford. But I think a classical book that is, I think Jim Collins is one of the best Homo sapiens there is. The classical book about good to great, it's good. But also I think it's one book that I think is really important is how the mighty corporations disappear and how they are coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's all about that. The reason for why corporations don't stay on top, it's that they deny. It's the risk of they deny the risk of change. So when you deny a problem, uh, you don't want to spend time or money on evolution and innovation. And what's happening is that you get stuck in history, like Kodak and so, because you see the change coming. For instance, when it's come to electronic music, we were seeing Napster for many, many years before Spotify and those solutions. So if you look around you today, you will see a lot of signals of change. And those who adapt them, they will stay on top of it. Those who don't, they will die out. That's the evolution of business. Yeah, Jim Collins is my first recommendation. And then you have a lot of good authors like Philip Kotler in marketing and so. But there is always new, and you have blogs, you have social media. There's a lot of things, and you have the podcast, of course, and there's a lot of things you can do.
That's nice. Okay, so that's the last question I'm going to ask you. It's connected with our podcast because Stay on Top of Your Work is the name of our podcast. So how do you stay on top of your work? How do you keep things together and make sure that they work?
Well, I've developed I've been blogging since 2005. So, and then I get to know people in New Zealand, all over the world. So by building up a social media network around the world, I could actually be 48 hours before traditional media. I know what's going to happen tomorrow or next week by being connected with a lot of dots around the world. That's how I stay on top. And then I study a lot of different fields, which I'm not an expert in. I study martial art, not to be a martial artist, but I study because I want to learn strategies in every field there is. So that's how I stay on top. And I watch a lot of nature shows because I do a lot of interviews. I talk with people. I wherever I can learn something, I'm willing to learn. It doesn't matter what people work with or which wherever I do. I'm always trying to learn new things. That's how I'm trying to stay on top. Actually, my behavior is like a kid.
Oh,
Every day, yeah, in the way that everything is new if you have that mindset. So as a kid, you're so open for everything and you don't deny knowledge. And I feel like I'm a student of life. That's what I do. Then I teach at universities and so on also. But as a person, I to always strive for more knowledge, and that's one of my biggest needs as a person. I always want to learn new things.
this
I
is
know
really
that.
inspiring. Yes.
Thank you very much. But thank you so much. And that's what I'm trying to be. So we're humble for knowledge and always try to learn new things. So, but for me, I learn the best when I do things for real, instead of study by watching television or on YouTube on martial art. I actually go to the dojos and I compete with them because I want to see how good they are. And sometimes they nearly break my legs and so
Ooh.
because they're really good at what they're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I learn. And if I should study sharks, I take a diving certification. I spent 3 years studying them. I went to South Africa. I met the best sharks experts in the world, and that's how I learn. So even I go to kindergarten, I play with kids because they are the best in creativity, and I will always want to keep the kid inside of me alive, because that's the most creative mindset Homo sapiens can have, in my opinion. And I think that's very important. And sometimes in management, we forget that we've all been kids, and we need to have that connection to be really creative and innovative and always try to move on, whatever you do in life.
Yes, I agree with you. I have to say, I do agree with you. Okay.
Thank you.
That will be it. Thank you very much for your interview. It was really, really inspiring.
Thank you so much. It was really nice to be here, and I hope to.
Yes, of course. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this interesting interview. If you did, make sure to listen to our previous podcast from the series Stay on Top of Your Work. Also, you can find more information about Stefan and his books under the podcast, and make sure to check it out, especially Sharkonomics. The podcast is brought to you by Timecom. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, bye-bye.